This probably won't surprise anyone who knows me at all, but I love model kits. Building kits is very relaxing and also allows you to make stuff on the cheap. It also means that you can easily customize stuff if you so desire. And often, more obscure models are only offered in kit form. Sometimes these kits require a lot of work and time to put together, and sometimes it's as easy as just screwing it together. Thanks, Saturn. However, recently I have come across a kit that is just so baffling, so unlike anything I've ever had to put together, that I had to make a video about it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my experience with the E&B Valley Railroad Company 65-foot mill gondola kit. So firstly, the story of how I came across this and how much I paid. I happened to find this in a little train shop I went to a few weeks ago, and it only cost $5. That's pretty cheap, especially when you consider what other people would charge for it. And considering the amount of EJ&E stuff I own, mill gons are kind of a requirement. However, I had no idea the amount of frustration this kit was going to give me when I tried to put it together. So let's get into it.
Alright, so let's start with the box here. Now, it's pretty standard for most kit boxes from this era. I mean, I've seen ones with even less detail. I mean, hang on. Yeah, like most kits give you like absolutely zero indicator of what's actually inside until you look on it. And then there's this one I've got, which just has a picture of the car glued onto it. So yeah, this is pretty standard affair for most HO train car kits. Quality kits for over a 50th of a century. What? Now, unless I'm completely mistaken here, I've never been good at math. 1/50th of a century, well, 1/50th is, 0.02. So a century is 100. So that's going to be 100 times 0.02. So that's going to mean 2 years? I must have that wrong. Someone please check me in the comments, because I am not good at math, and there is no way I have that right. There's no way that can be right. Warning, it has been determined that this product may become habit-forming. Ooh. Bro. That's gonna be an L. Alright, let's take a look inside. Now, I never bothered to record myself making the model because I literally didn't know that I was gonna be making this video. But, let's take a quick look at the instructions here. Okay, so your first issue here is that all of your instructions are laid out in like a frickin' paragraph each, and it doesn't tell you really what to do in a very cohesive way, at least. And on the other side, you've just got pictures that relate to each one. Like, why wouldn't you give us this to us on a separate page so I don't have to be doing this when I'm building the car? Like, flipping the page over is the last thing I want to do when I'm trying to assemble something, because there is like plastic cement and all sorts of tools all over my desk. I mean, look at my bed. Dude, this is the last thing I've been wanting to do. I know that's a nitpick, but like, that's really annoying to me. However, regardless of this, I ended up ignoring the instructions because, well, the way they wanted you to glue the sides on was literally impossible. As in, they would not stay on and they would not stay at a 90-degree angle. I'm not certain what kind of plastic they used, but it was not very happy with using plastic cement. I ended up having to glue these side braces in first, contrary to what the instructions tell you, because these were the only way I could even keep the sides straight and at a 90-degree angle, because if they glued in, you know, all wonky, then the whole car was basically screwed. And no, you can't just use the bulkheads because there's absolutely no pattern to lock the walls into. So you basically also just have to guess and just hope you get it right when you put these on. And remember, you gotta do it right, because if you don't do it right, you're not gonna be able to get the ends to drop. If you put too much glue on it, it's going to glue the ends in either the up or down position, which I know some people would just glue this anyway, but I wanted them to be droppable. Additionally, For some weird reason, it's printed on the inside of the car, but only this one side. I don't know why that happened, or why it happens. I've seen other models with this, and I have zero idea of how this painting process goes. As you can see here, we got a little bit of bleed over on the logos, but it's not that bad. I've seen far, far worse. By the way, did you notice that at the handbrake says Ajax? Well, it does in fact say Ajax, but good luck ever noticing that, considering that it's basically covered up by the brake wheel. Not like it matters anyway, because my chain for the brake wheel was broken in the sprue. In fact, the case was similar for the grab irons that were supposed to go on the other side. They just snapped immediately after just me even touching the screw, like both of them. Now, I understand sometimes when you have these small parts, they just break. Like, it's inevitable. They're just so tiny that they're gonna break. And it's not that big a deal, for me at least. But it's still kind of annoying. By the way, you may have also noticed in a previous shot that I had added these weights onto the bottom of the car and foregone the usual brake rigging and whatnot. This is because the car doesn't come with any metal weights. And I can tell you from holding it that that would never fly very well if you were to actually put this on a freight train. I don't have a layout to test it on, unfortunately, but I can tell you just by how it felt in my hand that it was going to get pulled off really easily. So now, let me just have one of these sprues here in my hand so you understand what kind of plastic this is made out of. As you can see, it's very brittle. It just launched that piece of plastic all the way across my room where I'll probably never find it again. But yeah, this is nowhere near the kind of plastic I would expect to see a kit made out of. And just to prove that I'm not full of shit here, I found another sprue just around my room. See how that bends? It doesn't snap. It doesn't snap at all. Now, I understand that this kit is really old. I have no idea the exact date of manufacture, but I'm not sure how much more brittle this plastic would get, or if there was even a really good choice for kit plastic back then. I know there was a lot of resin kits, but still. I have seen plenty of pre-molded plastic cars that reacted so much better to plastic cement that there's really no excuse for that. Now here we come to another bugbear of mine that I absolutely hate. The coupler covers, you have to cement these on. There's no easy way to put a screw in it, and I hate this because if you ever have to take the coupler out, then, you know, you gotta try and pry this off without breaking everything else. Also, reminder that this kit is old enough that it comes with horn hook couplers, which are made of plastic. So if you were going to use plastic cement to secure this, yeah, you'd basically just be gluing the horn hook directly to the car. Metal KDs for the win, guys. Another problem I have with this is, one of the coupler pockets is bent downwards. It was bent downwards in the package. And despite my best efforts to try and bend it back, it's still too low. Just a tad. So either I've got to put something in there to shim it up, or I've got to raise the car up, or I got to just pull that rail out, or cut that box out and stick a KD one in there, because that's ridiculous. And it's really weird because the other side is basically spot on. That's the part that sucks. Now, I was able to get my ends to drop like I said earlier, but it's... I feel like I'm gonna bust the walls out if I do that too much. Now, I always put metal wheels on my cars because the club I go to basically requires it. And it rolls really, really well, even with the metal wheels put into it. But there is a problem here. The screws for the trucks are extremely loose. I tightened them in as far as I could get them, but they're just too large. Like, I was afraid that if I kept screwing, the bottom frame rail was going to pop off the rest of the car. And the problem here is that the trucks are really sloppy, right? Look at how much movement there is. If you put anything in here that's going to be top heavy and this goes through a curve, it's going to string align the train. And this is only compounded by the fact that it doesn't come with any weights. Again, I've added some, but it's not as much as I would be comfortable with, honestly. And I know that you could just put weight in the load, but I'd like to make sure that my cars can also run empty because, well, you know, I just like having that option. You see empty cars on trains all the time. That's how much the truck moves. Now, it is good to have trucks that do this. You know, they move around so that they can cope with uneven track, and they derail a lot less frequently. But when you get too much, you will have the car starting to tip over or wobbles a whole lot, and that's just not good. That's just not the mark of a good car.
So yeah, if I paid any more than like $5 for this thing, I would be extremely angry. The amount of problems I had with this and just trying to get it assembled and all the other issues just made this one of the most frustrating kits I've ever assembled. And you still shouldn't let building a model kit intimidate you, honestly. Usually they are very easy to put together once you know what you're doing. It's just, this example was so bizarre and difficult to put together that I felt I just had to make a video of it. So, if you see one of these around for cheap, just do yourself a favor and keep looking.
That was not what I intended, but okay.